original equation to tell you if you're gonna want the positive values or the negative values. If this was greater than, then my answer would have looked different. I would have been looking for the orange values instead of the green ones to create this interval right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on with another problem. So for problem number 2, we are going to solve x over 3 minus 1 over x minus 2 less than x plus 1 over 4. So in order for us to do this, we have to solve for the equation like we did yesterday, and then go ahead and do the inequality part. Now, before we do begin though, I do notice that here in my denominator, I do have this x minus 2, right? So automatically with this x minus 2 here, that right there is going to be an undefined value because it is in the denominator. So I already found my undefined value, right? It's going to be at x minus 2 equals to 0. So I will add the 2, x is going to equal to 2. Now, can I do that with the 3 and the 4? No, not really, because they're just real numbers, okay? So that right there is my undefined value of x equals to 2, okay? Oops. Okay. So now let's go ahead and solve this. The first thing we have to do is find the least common denominator. Now, one thing here that I notice is that I have an x minus 2 here. But this fraction and this fraction don't have an x minus 2. So I know that they don't have it, but I need it in my numerator here to cancel it out. So x minus 2 is going to be a part of my least common denominator, just because I don't have it in this numerator and I need it. Now, another thing here is that I do have a 3 and a 4 that I do need to cancel out. So I can go ahead and do 3 times 4, or I can go ahead and just make it a 12, right? So my least common denominator is going to be 12 times x minus 2, because I need a 3 here to cancel the 3 out in the bottom, and I need a 4 here to cancel that 4 in the bottom. So the best way for me to cancel this 3, this x minus 2, and this 4 is to put a least common denominator of 12 times x minus 2. Okay, that right there will guarantee that my denominators are going to cancel out. Okay. So let's go ahead and multiply this fraction by my least common denominator. So I'm going to go ahead and have 12 times x minus 2 times x over 3 minus 12 times x minus 2 times 1 divided by x minus 2 is less than 12 times x minus 2 times x plus 1 over 4. Okay, so now you look at this right here, okay? 12 divided by 3, well, what's 12 divided by 3? That is going to be 4 times x minus 2 times x. And now my denominator here got canceled out because 12 divided by 3 has now become 4. And over here, my x minus 2's cancel out, so I'm going to have minus 12 times 1. And then that's going to be less than, once again right here, 12 divided by 4. What's 12 divided by 4? That's going to be a 3. So then the denominator here cancels out and leaves me with a 3. I'm going to have x minus 2 times x plus 1. Okay? So now we go ahead and we simplify, we multiply these. So I'm going to go ahead and just do 4 times x, which is 4x. 4 minus 2, which is negative 8. And I still have to multiply this by x. So I'm going to do x times 4x is 4x squared. Negative 8 times x is going to be negative 8x. Minus 12 times 1, that's just 12. Less than, let's go ahead and do these first. X times x, I'm going to put the 3 here. X times x is going to be x squared. And then x times 1 is going to be positive x. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Combine like terms, x minus 2x, that's negative x. So we're going to have 3 times x squared minus x minus 2. Distributed 3. 3 times x squared, that is going to be 3x squared. And then 3 times negative x, that'll be negative 3x. And then 3 times negative 2, that'll be negative 3. Okay, so now I have this. I have to make this equation equal to 0. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll add the 3. Add the 3. I'll add the 3x as well. Add the 3x as well. And I'll subtract the 3x squared. Subtract the 3x squared. These right here are going to cancel out. So now I'm going to have 4x squared minus 3x is just x squared. Negative 8x plus 3x is negative 5x. And then negative 12 plus 3. Also, I just caught a mistake. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. My bad. So then I'll add 6 here. I'll add 6 here. So negative 12 plus 6 will be negative 6. Okay, so now let's go ahead and factor this. X and x. Number that multiplies to 6 but then adds to negative 5. That'll be 6 and 1. Because 6 times 1 is 6. But if I do 6 minus 1, that'll give me 5. Now I just need to make the negative 5, get a negative 5 and a negative 6. So that means this will be negative and this one right here will be positive. Okay, so I'll just get this x minus 6 equal it to 0 and x plus 1 equal it to 0. Now the reason why I'm doing this right here, guys, okay, is because this right here is going to give me the zeros. Because remember, we need to find the undefined values and the zeros. So I already have my undefined value. I just need to find my zeros. Okay, so that's what I had to do to find the zeros. So now I add the 6. Add the 6. X is going to equal to 6. Subtract the 1. X is going to equal to negative 1. So my zeros are going to be x equals to negative 1 and x equals to 6. So now all I have to do, now that I have those, is create a number line, right? So let's go ahead and create that number line. And remember, every single number line has to include the zeros and the undefined values. So seeing as negative 1 is the smallest one, I will go ahead and put a negative 1 there. After that, and that's a 0, so I'll put a 0 there. And then after that, we have 2, so I'll put the 2 here. And that one right there is undefined, so I'll write undefined right there. And then the 6. Oops. And that right there is also a 0. So the undefined one, that's what we have there. So now let's go ahead and pick values that are less than and greater than. So here, less than negative 1, I'll go ahead and choose negative 2. Something that's between negative 1 and 2, I'll go ahead and choose 0. Remember, you can choose any numbers that you want. And now between 2 and 6, I'll go ahead and choose 3. And then anything that's greater than 6, I'll go ahead and say 7. And all I have to do is plug it in. Okay, but now, because this one is a little bit different from the first one, right? So the reason that this one is different from the first one is that now it's not just less than or greater than 0. It's less than this rational fraction right here, right? So we're basically just going to prove and test if these are true or false, right? So let's go ahead, and whatever's true, that's going to be the interval that I want, right? So let's go ahead and see what we get. So let's go ahead and plug in -2 into the original equation right here. So I'm going to go ahead and get -2 -2 over 3 minus 1 over -2 minus 2 less than -2 plus 1 over 4. Okay, so -2 over 3, that's already as simplified as it can get. Okay, and then minus 1 over -2 minus 2, that's -4, less than -2 plus 1, that's -1 over 4. So now let's get them to have the same denominator of 12. So 3 times 4 will be 12. That means -2 times 4 will be -8. And then -4 times 3 will be 12. 1 times 3 will be 3. Okay, and then here I'll make this one as 12 as well. So 4 times 3 will be 12. -1 times 3 will be -3. Okay, so -8 minus 3. Well, actually, we have this right here. A negative times a negative, which is a positive. So you'll have -8 over 12 plus 3 over 12 is less than -3 over 12. So -8 plus 3 will be -5 over 12. Is -5 over 12 less than -3 over 12? Yes, because -5 is smaller than -3. So this right here will be true. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the next one. So we're going to have 0 over 3 minus 1 over 0 minus 2 less than 0 plus 1 over 4. 0 over 3, that's just 0 minus 0 minus 2 is -1/2, so that's just 1 over -2 less than 0 plus 1 is 1 over 4. Okay, so here, once again, a negative times a negative is a positive, so that's just going to be is 1/2 less than 1/4. No, because I think 1/2 is actually bigger than 1/4, right? So then this right here is false. Okay, so now let's go ahead and do the 3. So we're going to have 3 over 3, wrong color. 3 over 3 minus 1 over 3 minus 2 is less than 3 plus 1 over 4. Well, 3 over 3 is just 1. Minus 3 minus 2 is 1. So minus 1 over 1 is less than 3 plus 1 is 4 over 4. So 1 divided by 1 is just 1. So 1 minus 1 over 4 divided by 4 is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. Less than 1. So is 0 less than 1? Yes, that is a true statement. So now let's go ahead and do the last one, which is 7. Now I did run out of space here, so I'm just going to put this one here in the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do 7 over 3 minus 1 over 7 minus 2 is less than 7 plus 1 over 4. So 7 over 3 is already simplified. Minus 1 over 7 minus 2 is 5. Less than 7 plus 1 is 8 over 4. Need to get them all to have the same denominator. 3, 5, and 4. Well, actually, 8 divided by 4, we can actually simplify that to get 2, right? So 7 over 3 minus 1/5. So the number here will be 15. So 3 times 5 will give me 15. 7 times 5 will give me 35. And then 5 times 3 will give me 15. So 1 times 3 will be 3. So we'll get 35 over 15 minus 3 over 15 is less than 2. So 35 minus 3, that is going to give me 32 over 15 is less than 2. So here you basically just ask yourself, okay, so how many times does 15 go into 32? That's 2 times. With what left over? 2 over 15. Is that less than 2? That's false, right? So basically what I want is everything that's true, which is this and this right here. So my interval here will be anything that's less than 2, so that means negative infinity, all the way up to negative 1. Once again, it's a parentheses because the inequality right here is less than and it's not equal to, so right there. And then union between 2 and 6. And once again, parentheses there as well because that 2 is undefined, so that's an asymptote. And then the 6 is, it's a 0, but according to the original problem, it's less than. So then that right there, this will be my answer. Okay, I know it's a long lesson. I'm sorry, but it's a lot of information. Okay, guys, have a good one.